Lots of clouds today again. It's actually dripping in some places. And what did I read today? How about this one? It sounds like some places are really gearing up to put anti-drone tech in place per se. This one here first says, anti-drone tech to fortify border security in 6 months. So what's the situation here? It says the government is close to finalizing anti-drone technology for deployment across borders, especially the international border with Pakistan and Punjab and the line of control in Jammu and Kashmir. Official sources on Tuesday said trials were underway and the deployment could happen in 6 months, saying, quote, "We are very near to finalizing the anti-drone technology for deployment all along the border. 3 types of trials are underway. We have to decide whether to deploy these independently or in combination. The deployment is estimated in 6 months, top government sources said, with drone incursions across the border on the rise. Only in December last year, the Border Security Force, which guards the international border, said it had shot down 100 Pakistani drones engaged in smuggling narcotics, arms, and ammunition into India throughout 2023. Previously, the BSF reported 268 drone sightings in 2022 as against 49 in 2020 and 109 in 2021. The government is conscious of the rapid emergence of drones as Pakistan's preferred tool in the border conflict with India. So from the sounds of it, it deals more with criminal activities such as drugs and all that, although they do talk about things like drone attack, and as well saying here, drone sightings in Punjab are also on the rise and we can increasingly observe the potential of drones for attacks in military and civilian areas, as well as their use in carrying narcotics, small arms, and fake currency. All this warrants anti-drone technology deployment. So would you agree with that? I know a lot more places will be implementing stuff like this, not surprisingly anyways. But with that thought actually of people saying, hey, drones need to be dealt with, you put them in the airspace, they're dangerous, fly them around airports, they could disrupt everyone. But how about other things like a balloon, which is why this was actually interesting, because apparently there was a protest and they specifically put a balloon in the air or something like that to disrupt the air traffic. Like this one says, anti-Israel protesters launch a large balloon in front of JFK airport trying to shut down the airport. I would imagine that would create extreme chaos where you see anything floating around the airspace, in particular, like in the airport there. And it says they launched the balloons as planes were landing and taking off. They were clearly willing to gamble with the lives of hundreds of people. And it makes you think too, like in that case, someone is using, let's just say, anything in a bad way. Are you going to say now, oh, that's it? Because of this, balloons need license and registration, for example. You wouldn't say that, correct? Like here, you have to find ways to deal with people. It wasn't like a, quote, I guess, sophisticated drone or anything, or a toy. It was literally like a balloon. So why such a difference in terms of, again, the approach, where this one, you don't need over-the-top regulations when someone's using it in a bad way, but the other you do. I mean, it just comes down to, in my opinion, more to control, I guess, drones per se, and at the same time, too much commercial conflict of interest in my opinion, because like here, what it comes down to is you have to find ways to deal with people primarily who try to do bad things. And this was spreading a lot online recently, where this name Epstein was popping up in a lot of places. It's apparently that guy who's infamous for running some kind of, I guess, child sex ring of sort with famous people, where they use it as a way to blackmail people. I don't know, like you videotape them having sex with a minor and then saying, oh, you better do all this now or I'll expose you. That's the accusation anyways. And in recent times, people were saying, for example, okay, why don't you release like a list of his clients? It's never been done, but apparently they were supposed to do it soon. But because this thing is coming out, people have been accusing or potentially guessing whose name will pop up, like famous celebrities. And one in particular, which kind of got like an interesting reaction, was that talk show host Jimmy Kimmel. And there was this particular video where it was an interview, and a person named Aaron Rodgers, who I guess is a quarterback for the NFL, implied, for example, he might see things like, I don't know, Jimmy Kimmel on the actual, I guess, list. And you can see it here.
Has something to do with the Epstein list that came out?
Feels like.
That's supposed to be coming out soon.
Look, this guy's been waiting in his wine cellar.
Yeah.
I've been waiting in my wine cellar for this thing.
A lot of people, including Jimmy Kimmel, are really hoping that doesn't.
All right.
Now with this, the Jimmy Kimmel person reacted to it, I guess, really aggressively. I guess with this first one here saying, "Dear asshole, for the record, I've not met, flown with, visited, or had any contact whatsoever with Epstein, nor will you find my name on any list other than the clearly phony nonsense that soft-brained wackos like yourself can't seem to distinguish from reality. Your reckless words put my family in danger. Keep it up and we will debate the facts further in court." So that's kind of an interesting reaction, because the argument would be, as a talk show host, he does it a lot in terms of, I guess, probably like in a joking way, saying, oh, this guy is like, you know, potentially doing bad things and all that. So why attack him specifically aggressively in this way? Because the first thing that comes to my mind actually of this guy's name in particular, Jimmy Kimmel, I remember there was an MMA fight where at the end, usually when people win their matches or whatever, they get post interviews. And he specifically was talking about things like an Epstein client list and mentioning Jimmy Kimmel here. So it makes me wonder, why wouldn't you go after this guy aggressively versus this Aaron Rodgers person? You can see the video here.
Secondly, Jimmy Kimmel, viral this: I fight to eradicate childhood malnutrition from the planet. And until they release the flight logs, you, the mainstream media, Hollywood, are all pedophiles to me. Eat. Am I canceled yet.com?
I mean, the only other thing I can think of is maybe he feels this Aaron Rodgers person or that platform in general has a bigger audience, so it's more of a threat where people will pay attention versus the other one's a little bit more niche, like MMA fighters and all that. But at the same time, like I said, that one actually went more viral to my knowledge. But what would you think in that case? I think the interesting thing would be is, if there's nothing wrong or whatever, just talk about the facts and so forth like usual. But at the same time, once it starts going to, for example, labeling people, just saying, oh, this is this left and right person and all that, in my opinion, there's something fishy going on. Usually when people jump to that type of argument, I would say, why are you doing that? Stick to the facts, for example. I mentioned it before too. The only thing that's kind of not believable in this situation is how many powerful and influential people apparently are in this quote, I guess, list. It's just not believable, is it? How does this many people get entangled in that if this is true? So that would be fascinating to see when the thing comes out, or at the same time, if it really is that corrupt as they say, will anyone actually be prosecuted in general? All right, see you guys later.